The transition from flesh to machine, from mortal to near immortal, marks the birth of a dreadnought. These ancient war machines embody the undying spirit of humanity's greatest heroes, their consciousness forever interred within adamantium shells. The Imperium of man, spanning countless worlds across the Milky Way, faces threats from without and within. Xenos races, chaos forces, and heretical uprisings constantly test the resolve of humanity's defenders. Among these guardians stand the Space Marines, genetically enhanced super soldiers who serve as the Emperor's finest. Yet even these mighty warriors fall in battle, their bodies broken beyond repair. For some, death is not the end. Through arcane technologies dating back to the Dark Age of technology, the Imperium preserves its greatest heroes. Their shattered forms are lovingly entombed within the sarcophagi of dreadnoughts, massive bipedal war machines that tower over even the tallest space marines. This process, known as internment, is both a great honor and a terrible burden. The psyche of a warrior undergoes a profound transformation upon internment. Imagine the shock of awakening, no longer feeling the beat of your own heart or the breath in your lungs. Instead, you perceive the world through auspex arrays and pict feeds, your every movement controlled by neural interfaces that interpret your thoughts as commands to servos and actuators. Sensory deprivation becomes a constant companion. The subtle sensations of a breeze on skin or the warmth of sunlight are replaced by data streams and tactical readouts. Touch is reduced to pressure sensors, while taste and smell become distant memories. Only in the heat of battle, when weapons fire and explosions rock your adamantium frame, do you truly feel alive. Time loses all meaning for a dreadnought. Between conflicts, they slumber in stasis, their minds drifting in a twilight realm between consciousness and oblivion. Decades or even centuries may pass in the blink of an eye, leaving the interred warrior increasingly disconnected from the world they once knew. Each awakening brings fresh disorientation as they struggle to comprehend a universe that has moved on without them. The psychological toll of this existence cannot be overstated. Many dreadnoughts experience periods of confusion, believing themselves to still inhabit their mortal forms. Others grapple with existential crises, questioning the nature of their being and their place in the Imperium. Some find solace in their continued service to the Emperor, while others slowly descend into madness over the long millennia of their existence. Relationships with fellow space marines become complex and often strained. While revered as living legends, dreadnoughts are also objects of fear and pity. Their brothers-in-arms struggle to relate to beings who have transcended mortality, yet remain trapped in a twilight existence. The wisdom of ages past is tempered by the growing disconnect from current realities. Despite these challenges, many dreadnoughts find renewed purpose in their role as living weapons and repositories of chapter lore. Their centuries of experience make them invaluable advisors to chapter masters and tactical geniuses on the battlefield. In times of great need, the awakening of a dreadnought can turn the tide of war and inspire entire armies to feats of heroism. The Adeptus Mechanicus, keepers of humanity's technological knowledge, view dreadnoughts with a mixture of reverence and fascination. To them, these ancient war machines represent the perfect fusion of man and machine, a step towards the ultimate goal of transcending weak flesh. The tech priests study dreadnoughts closely, seeking to unlock the secrets of their construction and the mysteries of the warrior's psyche within. As we delve deeper into the world of dreadnoughts, we must consider the ethical implications of this technology. Is it a mercy to preserve a warrior's mind in this way, or a cruel prolonging of existence beyond its natural end? The Imperium, ever pragmatic in its fight for survival, sees only the tactical advantage. Yet the question lingers, echoing in the halls of fortress monasteries and the dreams of those interred within living tombs of ceramite and steel. The origins of dreadnought technology stretch back to the misty epochs of the Dark Age of technology, a period of unprecedented scientific advancement for humanity. During this era, mankind spread across the stars, wielding powers that would later be viewed as miraculous. Among the myriad inventions of this time, the precursors to dreadnoughts emerged as a solution to extend the lives of the gravely wounded or infirm. Initially, these early life support systems were not designed for war. They served as medical marvels, allowing individuals to survive catastrophic injuries or degenerative conditions. The technology evolved, growing more sophisticated with each iteration. Eventually, someone, their identity lost to time, conceived the idea of weaponizing these life-preserving machines. As humanity's expansion across the galaxy brought it into conflict with hostile alien races, the need for powerful war machines grew. The concept of the warrior entombed found its niche in this violent crucible. Veteran soldiers, too grievously wounded to fight in their mortal forms, volunteered to be interred within massive armored frames. These proto-dreadnoughts proved devastatingly effective on the battlefield. The Age of Strife, following the collapse of humanity's first galactic civilization, saw much of this advanced technology lost or corrupted. Isolated human worlds regressed technologically, and many of the first dreadnoughts were destroyed or fell into disrepair. Yet on some worlds, the knowledge was preserved, passed down through generations of tech priests and engineers as a quasi-religious art. When the Emperor of Mankind emerged to reunite humanity during the Great Crusade, he recognized the potential of dreadnought technology. Under his guidance, the Adeptus Mechanicus refined and standardized the designs. The Emperor's genetically engineered space marines, with their enhanced physiology and iron will, proved to be ideal candidates for dreadnought interment. Each of the original Space Marine legions developed their own traditions surrounding dreadnoughts. The Iron Hands, for example, viewed internment as the ultimate expression of their philosophy of the superiority of machine over flesh. The Salamanders, known for their humanitarian outlook, saw dreadnoughts as a way to preserve their wisest members for the benefit of future generations. The Horus Heresy, that galaxy-spanning civil war that nearly destroyed the Imperium, marked a dark chapter in dreadnought history. Loyal and traitor legions alike deployed these walking fortresses to devastating effect. The sight of brother fighting brother, both encased in nigh indestructible shells, became a tragic emblem of the conflict's brutality. In the aftermath of the heresy, as the Imperium rebuilt itself, the role of dreadnoughts evolved. They became living relics, repositories of ancient wisdom and martial skill. Chapter masters turned to them for counsel, drawing upon millennia of experience. On the battlefield, their presence inspired awe in allies and terror in foes. The Codex Astartes, that tome of military organization penned by Robert Guilliman, formalized the use of dreadnoughts within the newly formed Space Marine chapters. It outlined protocols for their deployment, maintenance, and the selection of candidates for internment. This codification ensured that the tradition of the dreadnought would persist through the coming millennia. As the Imperium entered the long years of the Age of the Imperium, new patterns of dreadnoughts emerged. Tech priests of Mars and its forge worlds labored to improve upon the ancient designs. The Contemptor pattern, with its advanced adamantic shielding, stood as a testament to the heights of Imperial technology. The massive Leviathan dreadnought, designed to combat the most monstrous foes, pushed the boundaries of what was possible with the fusion of man and machine. Not all Space Marine chapters embraced dreadnoughts with equal fervor. The Space Wolves, with their fierce independence and devotion to their Primarch Leman Russ, developed unique variants like the venerable Bjorn the Fell-Handed. This legendary warrior, who fought alongside Russ during the Great Crusade, became one of the oldest dreadnoughts in service to the Imperium. The Black Templars, zealous crusaders that they are, viewed dreadnoughts as living shrines to the Emperor's will. They adorned their war machines with scriptures and relics, turning each one into a mobile cathedral of destruction. In battle, Black Templar dreadnoughts led their brothers in thunderous war chants, their voxcasters booming with righteous fury. Contrast this with the secretive Dark Angels, who used dreadnoughts to preserve the knowledge of their mysterious past. The eldest of their interred warriors held secrets that even the chapter's inner circle dared not write down, making them invaluable assets in the Dark Angel's hidden wars. The Adeptus Mechanicus, ever seeking to unlock the secrets of humanity's technological peak, conducted extensive research on dreadnoughts throughout the millennia. They saw in these war machines a glimpse of humanity's potential for transcendence. Some tech priests even volunteered for a form of internment, seeking to experience this melding of consciousness and machine firsthand. As the Imperium's enemies evolved, so too did the role of dreadnoughts. The Tyrannid invasions saw these ancient warriors pitted against biological horrors that dwarfed even their massive frames. Against the Necrons, dreadnoughts stood as humanity's answer to the Xenos' own deathless legions. The long war against the forces of chaos brought loyalist dreadnoughts face to face with their fallen brethren, now twisted by millennia of exposure to the warp. The Ultima founding, which introduced the Primaris Space Marines, raised questions about the future of dreadnought technology. Would these genetically superior warriors be compatible with the ancient life support systems? The Adeptus Mechanicus and the chapter's tech marines labored to adapt their cherished dreadnoughts for this new breed of space marine. In recent years, as warp storms have torn the galaxy asunder and new threats emerge from the darkness between the stars, dreadnoughts have taken on renewed importance. They serve as anchors of stability in an increasingly chaotic universe, their ancient wisdom providing guidance in uncertain times. The psychological toll of internment, once seen as a necessary evil, has become a subject of intense study as the Imperium seeks to maximize the effectiveness of these living weapons. The history of dreadnoughts is, in many ways, a microcosm of humanity's journey through the dark millennia. From the heights of technological achievement to the depths of superstitious ignorance, from unifying force to weapon of fratricidal conflict, the dreadnought has been both a blessing and a curse to the Imperium. As humanity faces ever greater threats, the question remains: will these ancient warriors be the key to mankind's survival, or a grim reminder of the cost of endless war? Towering over the battlefield, a dreadnought's imposing silhouette strikes fear into the hearts of the Emperor's foes. These walking fortresses of ceramite and adamantium stand as a testament to the Imperium's technological might and the indomitable will of its greatest heroes. At first glance, one might mistake a dreadnought for a mere machine, but closer inspection reveals the truth. Within its armored shell resides the essence of a once mighty space marine. The sarcophagus, the heart of the dreadnought, houses the warrior's mortal remains. This life support chamber is a marvel of techno-arcane engineering, sustaining the interred marine's vital functions indefinitely. Nutrient fluids and stimulants flow through an intricate network of tubes and conduits, while neural interfaces link the warrior's mind directly to the machine's systems. This melding of flesh and steel allows the entombed hero to pilot the massive frame with the same precision and skill they once wielded their own body. Dreadnoughts come in various patterns, each designed for specific roles on the battlefield. The venerable Castroferum pattern, with its distinctive boxy shape, remains a common sight in many chapters' arsenals. Its versatile weapon loadout allows it to adapt to a wide range of combat situations. The more advanced Contemptor pattern boasts enhanced mobility and sophisticated shielding technology, making it a formidable opponent even against modern threats. For the most dire situations, chapters may deploy the massive Leviathan Dreadnought. This behemoth dwarfs its smaller cousins, bristling with heavy weaponry capable of laying waste to entire squads of enemy troops or bringing down the largest Xenos monstrosities. The trade-off for this incredible firepower is reduced mobility, but few foes can withstand its onslaught long enough to exploit this weakness. Armament varies widely between dreadnought patterns and loadouts. Close combat variants wield massive power fists capable of crushing tanks, often paired with underslung flame weapons to scour enemy infantry. Ranged specialists may sport twin-linked lascannons for anti-armor duties or multi-barreled assault cannons to lay down punishing hails of fire. Some chapters even maintain specialist dreadnoughts, armed with siege weaponry or arcane technologies specific to their combat doctrine. The external armor of a dreadnought is a masterpiece of defensive engineering. Layers of ceramite and adamantium plating, often further reinforced with ablative shields and reactive armor, allow these war machines to shrug off attacks that would cripple lesser vehicles. Ancient wards and sigils etched into the armor provide additional protection against both physical and metaphysical threats, a necessity in a universe where reality itself can be weaponized. Mobility, while not a dreadnought's strongest suit, is far greater than one might expect from such a massive construct. Powerful servo motors and gyro stabilizers allow for surprising agility in combat situations. Some patterns, like the Contemptor, even incorporate limited jump capabilities for short-range tactical repositioning. The thunderous footfalls of a charging dreadnought have been known to demoralize enemy forces before the first shot is even fired. Sensory systems of a dreadnought far exceed human norms. Auspex arrays provide a constant stream of battlefield data, while enhanced optical sensors allow the interred warrior to perceive threats at extreme ranges and in conditions that would blind mortal eyes. Some patterns incorporate sophisticated predictive logic engines to assist in target acquisition and threat assessment, further enhancing the dreadnought's combat effectiveness. Communication is vital for these living legends. Voxcasters allow dreadnoughts to coordinate with their battle brothers and issue commands that cut through the din of combat. Many chapters outfit their dreadnoughts with external speakers to project the interred warrior's voice across the battlefield, using their ancient wisdom to inspire allies and challenge foes. The fusion of man and machine in a dreadnought creates unique cognitive experiences for the entombed warrior. Neural interfaces provide a direct link to the machine's systems, allowing for reaction times far beyond human norms. This intimate connection can lead to a blurring of the lines between flesh and steel, with some long-interred warriors beginning to perceive the dreadnought's shell as their true body. Power generation is a crucial aspect of dreadnought design. Compact plasma reactors or esoteric power sources provide the enormous energy required to move the massive frame and power its formidable weapons. Backup systems and redundancies ensure that even severe damage is unlikely to completely incapacitate these walking fortresses. Some ancient dreadnoughts are said to house power cores dating back to the Dark Age of technology, their secrets long lost to modern tech priests. Maintenance of a dreadnought is a sacred duty for a chapter's tech marines. Regular rituals of purification and appeasement are performed to placate the machine spirits residing within the ancient frame. Repairs often involve a mixture of cutting-edge technology and archaic rites, reflecting the Adeptus Mechanicus's blend of science and spirituality. The most revered dreadnoughts may be adorned with priceless relics and masterwork embellishments, transforming them into walking shrines to the chapter's history. The psychological impact of a dreadnought's presence on the battlefield cannot be overstated. To allies, they are living icons of the chapter's might and history, their every word and deed an inspiration to greatness. To enemies, they are nightmarish engines of destruction, their inexorable advance sowing terror and confusion. Many a battle has turned on the timely arrival of a dreadnought, its ancient wisdom and overwhelming firepower tipping the scales in the Imperium's favor. Interred warriors experience time differently from their still-living battle brothers. Long periods of stasis between conflicts can lead to a disconnection from the flow of history. A dreadnought may awaken to find centuries have passed, forced to adapt to new tactics, technologies, and even changes in the Imperium itself. This unique perspective allows them to provide invaluable strategic insights, drawing on experience spanning millennia. The process of interring a warrior within a dreadnought is shrouded in secrecy and ritual. Only the finest heroes, mortally wounded yet possessing the iron will to endure, are chosen for this honor. The procedure itself is a harrowing ordeal, as the warrior's broken body is surgically integrated with the life support systems of the sarcophagus. Many do not survive the process, their minds unable to cope with the trauma of their transformation. For those who do survive, the initial awakening as a dreadnought is often a moment of profound shock and disorientation. The sudden shift in perception, the loss of familiar sensations, and the realization of their new existence can be overwhelming. It is not uncommon for newly interred warriors to experience periods of confusion or denial, believing themselves to still inhabit their original bodies. Over time, most dreadnoughts adapt to their new form, finding renewed purpose in their continued service to the Emperor and their chapter. The degree of this adaptation varies widely between individuals. Some embrace their transformation, viewing it as the ultimate expression of their dedication to duty. Others struggle with the psychological toll of their altered state, grappling with existential questions about the nature of their existence. The longevity of dreadnoughts presents unique challenges and opportunities. As living repositories of chapter lore and tactical expertise, they are invaluable resources. However, their ancient perspectives can sometimes clash with evolving Imperial doctrines or the strategies of younger commanders. Balancing respect for these venerable warriors with the need for adaptability in ever-changing war zones is a constant concern for chapter leadership. In rare cases, the strain of internment can lead to psychological deterioration. The phenomenon known as dreadnought madness is a grim reality that all chapters must face. Warriors who succumb to this condition may become erratic, delusional, or even dangerous to their allies. When this occurs, the chapter faces the heartbreaking decision of whether to permanently deactivate one of its greatest heroes. Despite these challenges, dreadnoughts remain one of the Imperium's most potent weapons in its never-ending war for survival. Their combination of tactical acumen, raw firepower, and inspirational presence makes them invaluable assets on and off the battlefield. As the darkness pressing in on humanity grows ever deeper, the thunderous stride of these ancient heroes serves as a defiant reminder of mankind's indomitable spirit and the Emperor's undying will. In the vast tapestry of the Warhammer 40,000 universe, dreadnoughts occupy a unique position, straddling the line between revered relics and potent weapons of war. Their influence extends far beyond the battlefield, shaping the culture, tactics, and even the spiritual life of the Adeptus Astartes and the broader Imperium of man. On the front lines of countless war zones, dreadnoughts serve as linchpins in space marine battle strategies. Their durability and firepower allow them to anchor defensive positions or spearhead assaults against the most formidable enemy emplacements. The psychological impact of a dreadnought's presence cannot be overstated. To allies, they are walking embodiments of the Emperor's might, while enemies often break ranks at the mere sight of these implacable war machines. Many chapter masters rely on the counsel of their oldest dreadnoughts, valuing the perspective that spans millennia of warfare. These ancient warriors have witnessed the ebb and flow of galactic conflicts, the rise and fall of civilizations, and the ever-changing face of humanity's enemies. Their insights often prove crucial in deciphering complex strategic situations or understanding the motivations of long-lived foes like the Eldar or the Traitor Legions. The Adeptus Mechanicus views dreadnoughts with a mixture of reverence and scientific curiosity. To the tech priests of Mars, these war machines represent the pinnacle of the union between man and machine. Extensive research is conducted on dreadnought technology, hoping to unlock secrets that could advance the Mechanicus' understanding of human-machine interfaces and life extension techniques. In the realm of Imperial faith, dreadnoughts occupy an ambiguous position. While not officially sanctioned as objects of worship by the ecclesiarchy, many Imperial citizens view them as physical manifestations of the Emperor's will. Stories of dreadnoughts rising from stasis to save beleaguered worlds spread through the Imperium, taking on mythic proportions and bolstering the populace's faith in their post-human protectors. The influence of dreadnoughts extends to the recruitment and aspirations of young space marines. Neophytes are regaled with tales of honored brothers, continuing to serve even after grievous injury, instilling a sense of duty that transcends mortal limitations. For many Astartes, the prospect of internment becomes a goal to strive for, a chance at immortality and eternal service to the Emperor. Within the chapter's fortress monastery, dreadnoughts serve as living repositories of tradition and lore. During periods of peace, they may be awakened to participate in important ceremonies, their presence lending gravity to rituals that may have been practiced for thousands of years. Some chapters even entrust their most closely guarded secrets to the memory of their oldest dreadnoughts, believing that such knowledge is safer in the mind of a venerable warrior than in any written record. The diplomatic role of dreadnoughts, while rare, can be significant. In disputes between chapters or negotiations with other Imperial factions, the word of an ancient dreadnought carries immense weight. Their perspective, unclouded by recent politics or personal ambition, is often sought in mediating conflicts that could otherwise escalate into interchapter warfare. On planets where Space Marine chapters maintain a permanent presence, dreadnoughts sometimes take on a quasi-religious significance for the local population. Sightings of these ancient warriors are interpreted as omens, and their rare proclamations are treated as divine wisdom. This can lead to complex interactions between chapter, ecclesiarchy, and planetary governments, as each seeks to manage the influence these living legends wield over the populace. The existence of dreadnoughts also serves as a poignant reminder of the Imperium's loss of technological knowledge. Each dreadnought is an irreplaceable relic, its inner workings a mystery even to the tech marines tasked with its maintenance. The destruction of a dreadnought in battle is mourned not only for the loss of the honored brother within, but also for the ancient technologies lost with it, another small step in humanity's long technological regression. In the strategium of fleet-based chapters, dreadnoughts play a crucial role in maintaining continuity of purpose across vast distances and timescales. As ships ply the void between stars, potentially cut off from communication for years or decades, the wisdom of these ancients helps ensure that the chapter's overall mission doesn't drift from the Emperor's intent. The influence of dreadnoughts on chapter culture varies widely. For the Iron Hands who view the flesh as weak, internment is seen as the ultimate ascension, a coveted state of being more machine than man. Conversely, chapters like the Space Wolves view dreadnoughts with a mixture of respect and pity, honoring their sacrifice while mourning the loss of a brother's humanity. In times of utmost peril, when a chapter faces extinction, the awakening of all its dreadnoughts is a sight of terrible majesty. This rare occurrence, known as the Awakening of the Ancients, signifies that the chapter has committed its every resource to battle. Such events pass into legend, spoken of in hushed tones across the Imperium as examples of the lengths to which the Adeptus Astartes will go to defend humanity. The psychological impact of dreadnoughts extends to the enemy as well. Chaos Space Marines, particularly those who fought during the Horus Heresy, react with a mixture of hatred and fear upon encountering loyalist dreadnoughts. These walking relics of a bygone age serve as stark reminders of the brotherhood they betrayed and the immortality they sacrificed in service to the ruinous powers. In xenology studies, the existence of Space Marine dreadnoughts has prompted extensive research into how other races preserve their greatest warriors. Comparisons have been drawn to Eldar Wraithbone constructs and Necron resurrection protocols, leading to philosophical debates about the nature of identity and the ethics of prolonging a warrior's service beyond natural death. The Inquisition maintains a keen interest in dreadnought technology, particularly in how it might be adapted for their own operatives. While the process of internment remains exclusive to the Adeptus Astartes, elements within the Inquisition seek to develop similar life extension technologies, seeing the potential for creating nigh-immortal guardians against the myriad threats facing the Imperium. On a broader scale, dreadnoughts embody the Imperium's philosophy of sacrifice and unyielding service. They stand as living or unliving proof that duty to the Emperor knows no bounds. Not even death can release a true servant of the Imperium from their obligations. This concept permeates Imperial culture, reinforcing the idea that every citizen must be prepared to give everything, even their very essence, in defense of humanity. The role of dreadnoughts in interchapter relations is complex and multifaceted. During joint operations, the presence of a dreadnought from one chapter serving alongside the forces of another is seen as a great honor and a sign of trust. These venerable warriors can serve as a unifying force, their ancient oaths of brotherhood sometimes superseding more recent chapter divisions. In the endless war against the forces of chaos, dreadnoughts play a unique psychological role. To the mortal followers of the dark gods, these implacable machines are terrifying embodiments of the Imperium's tenacity. Even as flesh fails and worlds burn, the dreadnoughts march on, a haunting reminder that the Emperor's will is eternal and unyielding. The influence of dreadnoughts extends even to the realms of art and culture within the Imperium. Epic poems recount the deeds of famous dreadnoughts, while monumental statues depicting their forms adorn the grand cathedrals of hive worlds. In this way, the concept of eternal service and post-human heroism is woven into the very fabric of imperial society. As the Imperium faces ever-growing threats from within and without, the role of dreadnoughts continues to evolve. These living relics of a more glorious age stand ready to meet the challenges of the 41st millennium, their ancient frames housing wisdom that may yet prove the key to humanity's survival in the darkest of times. Bjorn the Fell-Handed, oldest of the Space Wolves' dreadnoughts, stands as a living link to the chapter's primarch, Leman Russ. Interred more than 10,000 years ago, Bjorn fought alongside Russ during the Great Crusade and Horus Heresy. His tales of those bygone days are treasured by the Space Wolves, who awaken him once a century to recount the sagas of old. Bjorn's longevity is unprecedented, his mind remaining sharp despite millennia of slumber. He serves as a reminder of the chapter's purpose and a living connection to their legendary primarch. The Anchorite, a word-bearer's dreadnought, presents a unique case in the annals of the Adeptus Astartes. Following the Horus Heresy, this warrior renounced his allegiance to chaos and sought redemption. Entombed within a dreadnought shell, the Anchorite now serves the Ecclesiarchy, offering penance through eternal vigilance. His existence is known only to a select few, as his very presence challenges the Imperium's views on the irredeemability of traitors. During the defense of Macragge against the tyrannid Hive Fleet Behemoth, the Ultramarines unleashed all 5 of their dreadnoughts against the Xeno swarm. These ancient warriors, some dating back to the Great Crusade, formed an unbreakable line of defense. Their coordinated firepower and tactical acumen proved crucial in stemming the tide of tyrannid bioforms, buying precious time for the chapter to mount a successful counterattack. The Iron Hand's obsession with cybernetic enhancement finds its ultimate expression in their reverence for dreadnoughts. Young aspirants of the chapter view internment not as a last resort, but as a goal to strive towards. This cultural quirk has led to an unusually high number of dreadnoughts within their ranks, with some Iron Hands willingly undergoing the process even without sustaining mortal injuries. In a peculiar incident on the Forge world Ryza, a dreadnought of the Brazen Claws chapter was mistakenly awakened from stasis during a routine maintenance cycle. Disoriented and believing himself to be back in the Great Crusade era, the ancient warrior rampaged through several hab blocks before being subdued. This event led to revised protocols for dreadnought maintenance across many chapters. The Astral Knights chapter, in their final stand against the Necron world engine, deployed all of their dreadnoughts in a desperate boarding action. These venerable warriors spearheaded the assault, their millennia of combat experience proving invaluable in navigating the alien corridors of the Necron construct. Though the chapter was ultimately destroyed, the sacrifice of their dreadnoughts ensured the world engine's demise. An unusual case of dreadnought symbiosis occurred within the Mentors chapter. 2 mortally wounded battle brothers, whose combined tactical genius had won countless victories, were interred within a single dreadnought frame. This unique arrangement allowed them to continue their partnership, their dual consciousness granting the dreadnought unprecedented tactical flexibility on the battlefield. The Relictors chapter, before their excommunication, experimented with incorporating chaos artifacts into their dreadnought designs. One such creation, dubbed the Pandemonium Engine, exhibited terrifying but unpredictable powers in combat. The fate of this abominable fusion of Imperial and Chaos technology remains unknown, a subject of grave concern for the Inquisition. During the Badab War, a dreadnought of the Firehawks chapter, cut off from his brothers and believed destroyed, continued to wage a one-machine guerrilla war against the secessionist forces for over a decade. When Loyalist forces finally reached his position, they found a scene of carnage. Hundreds of enemy vehicles and thousands of troops had fallen to this indomitable warrior. The Blood Angels harbor a dark secret concerning their dreadnoughts. Due to the chapter's genetic flaw, some interred warriors fall prey to the Black Rage, even within their armored sarcophagi. These berserk engines of destruction are sealed away in the deepest vaults of the fortress monastery on Baal, to be awakened only in times of direst need. An intriguing theological debate arose in the ecclesiarchy concerning the nature of dreadnoughts. Some argued that the interred warriors, having cheated death through technology, stood outside the Emperor's divine plan. This led to a schism within certain sectors, with some radical priests calling for the decommissioning of all dreadnoughts. The dispute was only settled through the direct intervention of the Adeptus Mechanicus, who declared dreadnoughts to be manifestations of the Omnissiah's will. The Salamanders chapter tells the tale of Vulcan's wrath, a dreadnought said to house the remains of a warrior who fought alongside their Primarch during the drop site massacre of Istvan V. This venerable engine of war is said to burn with the literal fire of Vulcan's forge, its flame weapons igniting with unnatural ferocity in battle. Whether this is due to some quirk of ancient technology or the burning spirit of the warrior within remains a mystery. In a bizarre incident that still puzzles Imperial scholars, a dreadnought of the Doom Eagles chapter reportedly phased out of reality during a battle against Eldar forces, only to reappear 3 standard years later on a different planet. The warrior within claimed to have no memory of the intervening time, but his sensorium logs contained fragmentary data of impossible worlds and non-Euclidean geometries. The Minotaurs chapter, infamous for their brutal efficiency, employ their dreadnoughts in an unusual manner during void combat. Using specially designed maglocks, these ancient warriors secure themselves to the outer hulls of strike cruisers, serving as mobile weapon platforms during ship-to-ship engagements. This tactic, while incredibly risky, has proven devastatingly effective in boarding actions. An old guardswoman's tale speaks of the Ghost Dreadnought of Tanith, a mysterious figure that appears on battlefields where the Tanith first and only fight alongside Space Marines. Witnesses describe a shimmering, translucent dreadnought that phases through solid matter, leaving a trail of slain enemies in its wake. While officially dismissed as superstition, some Inquisitors believe it may be tied to the warp-sensitive nature of the Tanith regiment. The Mortifactors chapter, known for their macabre traditions, maintain a council of dreadnoughts known as the Conclave of the Dead. These ancients, some so old their names have been forgotten, are consulted on matters of chapter doctrine and strategy. The council's proclamations are interpreted by specialized librarians who must navigate the often cryptic and symbol-laden language of these revered undying warriors. During the siege of Gardath Hive, a lone dreadnought of the Crimson Fists held a critical causeway against an entire Orc Wach for 3 standard days. When reinforcements finally arrived, they found the dreadnought's legs had fused to the rockcrete from the heat of constant weapons fire, yet it continued to battle, surrounded by mountains of Orc corpses. The Dark Angels harbor a terrible secret concerning one of their oldest dreadnoughts. Known only as the Repentant, this ancient warrior is believed to be one of the fallen from the days of the Horus Heresy. Kept in solitary confinement deep within the rock, it is said that the chapter's interrogator chaplains consult this living relic in their endless hunt for the other fallen Dark Angels. An unusual incident occurred during a joint operation between the Ultramarines and the Adeptus Mechanicus. A tech priest, fascinated by the chapter's dreadnoughts, attempted to commune directly with the machine spirit of one such war engine. The resulting feedback loop temporarily transferred the tech priest's consciousness into the dreadnought, granting him a momentary glimpse of the interred warrior's existence. The experience left the tech priest profoundly changed, leading to new insights into the nature of human-machine integration. The legend of the Platinum Dreadnought persists among the Void clans of the Nephilim sector. According to their tales, this mysterious figure appears during the direst Void battles, its silvery form untouched by enemy fire as it turns the tide of combat. Some believe it to be the spirit of Sebastian Thor, while others claim it's a manifestation of the Emperor's will. Imperial authorities dismiss these stories as void madness, yet reports continue to surface with disturbing regularity. In the wake of the devastation of Baal, a Blood Angel's successor chapter unearthed a long-forgotten vault containing a unique dreadnought pattern. Preliminary examinations suggest it may date back to the Dark Age of technology, its systems far more advanced than anything in the current Imperial arsenal. The chapter now faces a dilemma: awaken this potentially game-changing weapon or leave it dormant for fear of tech heresy. The communion between a dreadnought and the outside world is a complex tapestry of ancient technology and grim determination. These war machines, housing the remains of once mighty space marines, interface with reality through a series of augmented sensory inputs that barely resemble human perception. Auspex arrays feed constant streams of tactical data directly into the interred warrior's mind, while pict captures and voxcasters provide a semblance of sight and sound. For many dreadnoughts, this altered state of being proves to be a constant struggle. The transition from flesh and blood Astartes to a living weapon is jarring, often leading to periods of confusion and disorientation. Some warriors awaken from stasis, believing they are still in their original bodies, only to be confronted with the stark reality of their new existence. This cognitive dissonance can be particularly acute during a dreadnought's first awakening, a moment that chapter apothecaries and tech marines approach with great caution. My communication with battle brothers and support staff is achieved through a combination of vox transmissions and external speakers. The voice of a dreadnought often carries a metallic timbre, a side effect of the extensive augmentation required to keep the warrior's vocal cords functional. This inhuman quality to their speech can be unsettling to mortal allies, a constant reminder of the price these heroes have paid for their continued service. Not all warriors adapt successfully to life as a dreadnought. The annals of various Space Marine chapters are filled with somber accounts of brothers who could not bear the psychological burden of their internment. These unfortunate souls manifest their distress in various ways, from catatonic unresponsiveness to violent outbursts that endanger allies and enemies alike. The Flesh Terrors. Chapter tells the grim tale of Brother Amaris, a decorated veteran whose mind fractured upon awakening in his dreadnought frame. Believing himself to be trapped in some chaos-induced nightmare, Amaris rampaged through the chapter's fortress monastery, causing extensive damage before he could be subdued. The incident led to revisions in the chapter's internment protocols, emphasizing the need for extensive psychological preparation before a warrior is entombed. In extreme cases, dreadnoughts who cannot reconcile themselves to their new existence may be put into permanent stasis, a fate considered a mercy by their battle brothers. These slumbering warriors are interred in sacred vaults, honored for their sacrifice, but deemed too unstable for active duty. The Iron Hands chapter, in particular, maintains extensive facilities for these lost brothers, viewing their struggle as the ultimate expression of the weakness of flesh. Conversely, some dreadnoughts embrace their transformation with an enthusiasm that borders on the disturbing. These individuals, often from chapters with a predisposition towards cybernetic enhancement, view internment as ascension rather than a last resort. The line between machine and man blurs for these warriors, leading to communication difficulties as they increasingly think and speak in terms more suited to cogitators than living beings. Long periods in stasis between battles present their own unique challenges for dreadnought communication. Warriors may awaken to find centuries have passed, forced to adapt to new tactical doctrines, unfamiliar technologies, and even changes in language itself. Chapter librarians often play a crucial role in this adaptation process, using their psychic abilities to help bridge the temporal gap and ease the dreadnought's transition back to active duty. The Nova Marines chapter developed a novel solution to aid their dreadnoughts in maintaining a connection with the present. Each interred warrior is assigned a chrono chaplain, a specialist whose sole duty is to keep the dreadnought updated on chapter history and Imperial events during their stasis periods. This practice has proven effective in reducing instances of temporal disorientation and strengthening the bond between the ancient warriors and their younger battle brothers. For some dreadnoughts, the altered state of their existence leads to profound shifts in perception and communication. The Mentors chapter tells of ancient epistolary Varro, whose psychic abilities actually increased following his internment. Varro's communication with his brothers took on an almost oracular quality, his pronouncements laden with prescient symbolism that often proved crucial in forthcoming battles. Not all challenges faced by dreadnoughts are psychological. The complex machine spirits inhabiting their armored frames can develop quirks and malfunctions that affect communication. The Salamanders record the case of Brother Numine, whose autosensors became hyper-attuned to heat signatures following a battle against tyrannid bioforms. This led to a period where Numine could only effectively communicate while in the chapter forge, surrounded by the familiar heat of the furnaces. The binary language of the Adeptus Mechanicus presents a unique opportunity for dreadnought communication. Some chapters, particularly those with close ties to Mars, have experimented with teaching this efficient machine language to their interred warriors. While the practice remains controversial, proponents argue that it allows dreadnoughts to interface more directly with their own systems and other war machines on the battlefield. In rare and heretical cases, the trauma of internment can leave a dreadnought's mind vulnerable to warp influence. The Ordo Malleus maintains sealed records of incidents where chaos entities have exploited this vulnerability, corrupting the interred warrior and turning them against their former brothers. These chilling accounts serve as a grim reminder of the constant vigilance required in the Imperium's war against the ruinous powers. Despite the myriad challenges, many dreadnoughts find new purpose in their role as living reliquaries of chapter lore. Their unique perspective, spanning centuries or even millennia, allows them to communicate the weight of history to younger battle brothers in a way no other could. This function extends beyond mere tactical advice, with many dreadnoughts serving as spiritual lodestones for their chapters, their words carrying the authority of the chapter's most revered heroes. The process of awakening a dreadnought from stasis is a ritual steeped in tradition and practicality. Many chapters employ librarians to establish a psychic link with the interred warrior, easing their transition to consciousness and assessing their mental state before full activation. This precaution stems from incidents in the past where disoriented dreadnoughts, believing themselves to be back in ancient wars, have caused considerable damage before their situations could be explained. For those who fail to adapt to their new existence, the fate can be grim indeed. Some chapters maintain special facilities deep within their fortress monasteries, where dreadnoughts deemed too unstable for battle are kept in permanent stasis. These warriors, though honored for their sacrifice, serve as silent reminders of the heavy toll exacted by this second life of duty. In the most extreme cases, when a dreadnought's mind degrades beyond recovery or falls to chaos influence, chapters may be forced to take drastic action. The Exorcists. Chapter speaks in hushed tones of the Rite of Final Silence, a solemn ceremony where a dreadnought's sarcophagus is disconnected from its warframe and interred in the chapter's sacred catacombs. This act is considered a last resort, undertaken only when all other options have been exhausted. The phenomenon of dreadnoughts in the Warhammer 40,000 universe represents a unique intersection of transhuman technology, psychological endurance, and the grim necessity of eternal warfare. As we've explored the myriad facets of these ancient warriors, several key themes emerge, each offering insight into the broader narrative of humanity's struggle in the 41st millennium. Foremost among these themes is the concept of sacrifice. Dreadnoughts embody the Imperium's ethos that duty does not end with death. The willingness of Space Marines to endure internment, knowing the psychological toll it will exact, speaks volumes about the devotion instilled in these post-human warriors. This sacrifice extends beyond the individual, affecting the chapter as a whole. The decision to enter a fallen hero is not taken lightly, balancing the tactical advantage of preserving an experienced warrior against the risk of losing them to madness or despair. The psychological impact of internment serves as a stark reminder of the human element that persists even in the transhuman Adeptus Astartes. The struggles faced by newly interred warriors grappling with their altered existence highlight the mental fortitude required to serve the Emperor. This aspect of Dreadnought lore adds depth to the Space Marine mythos, showcasing that even humanity's finest are not immune to psychological trauma. The various coping mechanisms developed by different chapters, from the Iron Hand's embrace of mechanization to the Space Wolves' emphasis on storytelling and tradition, illustrate the diverse ways in which the Adeptus Astartes confront the challenge of maintaining their humanity in inhuman circumstances. Technologically, Dreadnoughts stand as a testament to the lost knowledge of humanity's golden age. The inability of the Adeptus Mechanicus to fully replicate or improve upon these ancient designs underscores the technological stagnation that plagues the Imperium. Each dreadnought destroyed in battle represents not just the loss of a mighty warrior, but also the irretrievable loss of technological marvels from a bygone era. This scarcity imbues each dreadnought with immense value, both as a war asset and as a relic of humanity's former greatness. The role of dreadnoughts in preserving chapter history and culture cannot be overstated. These living relics serve as bridges between past and present, their memories spanning millennia of conflict. The reverence accorded to dreadnoughts by their younger battle brothers highlights the importance of tradition and continuity in Space Marine culture. However, this same factor can lead to tension, as the ancient perspectives of dreadnoughts sometimes clash with the tactical realities of modern warfare. This dynamic serves as a microcosm of the broader theme in Warhammer 40,000 of a civilization struggling to balance reverence for the past with the needs of the present. The variety of dreadnought patterns and their specialized roles on the battlefield showcase the adaptability of Space Marine tactics. From the venerable Castroferum pattern to the advanced Redemptor dreadnoughts, each design reflects a specific combat philosophy. The continued development of new dreadnought types, despite the Imperium's technological regression, speaks to the ingenuity of the Adeptus Mechanicus and the pressing need for ever more powerful weapons in humanity's endless wars. The influence of dreadnoughts extends far beyond the confines of their chapters. Their presence on the battlefield serves as a powerful symbol of the Imperium's might and the Emperor's eternal vigilance. To allies, they are living, or unliving, embodiments of heroism and sacrifice. To enemies, they represent the implacable nature of humanity's defenders, warriors who defy death itself to continue their eternal crusade. This symbolic power makes dreadnoughts valuable not just as weapons, but as tools of propaganda and morale. The ethical implications of dreadnought technology present a fascinating moral quandary. The Imperium's willingness to subject its greatest heroes to this fate raises questions about the nature of duty and the lengths to which a civilization should go to preserve its defenders. The contrast between chapters that view internment as an honor and those that see it as a last resort highlights the diverse ethical frameworks that exist even within the monolithic structure of the Adeptus Astartes. From a narrative perspective, dreadnoughts serve as excellent vehicles for exploring themes of memory, identity, and the passage of time. Their unique existence, straddling the line between life and death, allows for poignant storytelling that delves into the cost of immortality and the nature of consciousness. The tales of dreadnoughts awakening to find their entire chapter wiped out, or struggling to reconcile their ancient memories with a radically changed Imperium, add layers of pathos to the often brutal world of Warhammer 40,000. The relationship between dreadnoughts and the warp presents another avenue for analysis. As beings existing in a state between life and death, dreadnoughts occupy a unique position in relation to the Imperium. The accounts of dreadnoughts with enhanced psychic abilities post-internment, or those who have fallen prey to chaos influence, raise intriguing questions about the nature of the soul in the 40K universe and the potential vulnerabilities inherent in the internment process. The role of dreadnoughts in interchapter relations and broader imperial politics adds another layer of complexity to their existence. As living relics, they serve as powerful diplomatic tools, their words carrying the weight of millennia of experience. The respect accorded to ancient dreadnoughts can serve as a unifying force among otherwise disparate chapters, fostering a sense of shared heritage and purpose among the Adeptus Astartes. From a game design and narrative perspective, dreadnoughts offer a unique blend of power and vulnerability. Their formidable combat capabilities are balanced by the tragic nature of their existence, creating characters that are simultaneously awe-inspiring and pitiable. This duality makes them compelling focal points for stories, allowing authors and game designers to explore themes of heroism and sacrifice without resorting to one-dimensional portrayals. The mechanization of warfare represented by dreadnoughts raises broader questions about the future of humanity in the 40K universe. As the line between man and machine blurs, what does it mean to be human in a galaxy of horrors? The existence of dreadnoughts can be seen as a step on the path to full mechanization, a direction embraced by factions like the Iron Hands, but viewed with suspicion by more traditionally minded chapters. This tension reflects larger debates within the Imperium about the nature of humanity and the lengths to which it should go to ensure its survival. The psychological toll of internment within a dreadnought serves as a powerful metaphor for the broader trauma experienced by those who fight in the Imperium's endless wars. The struggle of interred warriors to maintain their sanity and sense of self mirrors the challenges faced by all who confront the horrors of the 41st millennium. In this light, dreadnoughts become symbols of resilience, their continued function in the face of mental anguish embodying the stubborn determination of humanity to endure against all odds. Technologically, the existence of dreadnoughts highlights the dichotomy between the Imperium's stagnation and its capacity for adaptation. While the fundamental principles of dreadnought construction remain unchanged for millennia, the development of new variants and the integration of rediscovered technologies showcase the Adeptus Mechanicus's ability to innovate within the constraints of their dogma. This tension between preservation and progress is a central theme in 40K lore, with dreadnoughts serving as a tangible embodiment of this conflict. The variety of chapter-specific modifications and uses of dreadnoughts illustrates the diversity within the Adeptus Astartes. From the Firehawk's use of dreadnoughts in void combat to the Mentor's experiments with dual consciousness, these variations add richness to the lore and demonstrate how each chapter's unique culture and combat doctrine influence their approach to warfare. This diversity within unity is a hallmark of Space Marine lore, and dreadnoughts serve as excellent vehicles for exploring these differences. In conclusion, the concept of dreadnoughts in Warhammer 40,000 transcends their role as mere war machines. They are physical manifestations of the Imperium's philosophy, embodying themes of sacrifice, duty, technological stagnation, and the preservation of knowledge. Their existence raises profound questions about the nature of consciousness, the ethics of prolonging life through technology, and the cost of maintaining a galaxy-spanning empire in a hostile universe. As narrative devices, they offer rich opportunities for exploring the grim darkness of the far future, their ancient minds providing a unique perspective on the never-ending conflicts that define the 41st millennium. In the end, dreadnoughts stand as tragic heroes, their eternal vigilance a testament to humanity's unyielding determination to survive in a universe that knows only war.